G'day. This is Charlie, and I'm coming to you today with your daily dose of business inspiration. Topic number 205, the importance of financial literacy. So important for business owners, and yet I feel it's one of the most overlooked things that we do. We're so busy getting our business started and delivering it and trying to sell, and I'll come back to selling later, that financial literacy kind of goes by the way. It's certainly not something we're taught at school. So it's something, I don't know if we just don't think about it or if we shy away from it because it looks like a big black hole. I am actually going to start by recommending a book to you all, and that's The Psychology of Money by Morgan Hausel. It's a great place to start if you want just an introduction as to some of the things that you need to think about with money. I've just read it and I really enjoyed it. It's not the dry stuff about how you manage your budget sheets and all of that. It's a nice introduction to money and how it works. And then, you can then apply that to your business. But financial literacy is important to business because we need to know where our money is flowing. We need to know how our money is working for us. If I'm putting $1 in, how much am I getting back out of the business? What you don't want is to be putting $1 in and getting less than $1 out at the end. Now, I'm not saying immediately, but over some period of time, that dollar needs to come back, and it needs to be more than $1. Preferably more than $1, $1.10, $1.20, preferably more than that, $1.50 maybe. If you can make it $2 or $4 or $5, even better, but it needs to be returning value to you. There are certain things that you need to consider in your financial literacy, and I am going to recommend some training if you can get it. I would recommend some more practical training, and I don't have any that I can actually recommend at the moment. And if I ever do, I will make sure that I update this. But I wouldn't recommend going and doing, a small business accounting course. I did one of those when I was younger, and it was so boring. And it was useless. It was absolutely useless. Maybe there's something around now that's better, but it really wasn't any help to me. There are a few things that you do need to learn about, and here's where you can start your learning process. First of all, you need to know what your financial statements are. You need to know what your balance sheet is. You need to know what your income statement is, which may or may not be your profit and loss sheet. And you need to know what your cash flow statement is. Your balance sheet tells you what your assets are, what your liabilities are, and what your equity are at any given point in time. Your income statement tells you, profit and loss statement tells you your revenue, your expenses, and then gives you basically how much money you're making over a specific period of time. That is those two together are the two main things that you run your business off of. Your cash flow statement talks about your liquidity. I hate using big terms. I'm trying not to, but it looks at how much money you've got coming in and how much money you need to spend out. Your profit and loss statement may show that you're making 30% margin or 30% on the money that you're putting in and out. Your cash flow statement shows that 30% comes all at once. It comes slowly. When you hear someone say cash flow is slow, what they mean is that the money that's coming into the bank account is not coming in as fast as money is going out. So paying bills, knowing when to pay a bill, knowing what bill you have to pay and when you have to pay it is really important, so you know how to manage that money coming into your bank. So you've got to understand your financial statements. You need to be able to budget and forecast, and this comes back to these things that we were just talking about. Know what you have to spend. Know what you have coming in from your sales, and what that will then help you determine your cash flow. It will also help you to look next year and the year after and say, okay, so because the first year is normally hard, because you don't have cash flow, you don't have much. Maybe you're living off of your savings. Maybe you don't have savings to build your business with, and you're just living off of what comes in versus what goes out. But looking at your budget will let you say, okay, I need to be putting this amount of money into a separate bank account because in 3 months I've got this big, massive bill to pay. Like for me, it's the rego on my vehicle. I know that that's got to be paid, and I know how much it's got to be paid. So I put away a little bit every week out of everything that comes in. I take a little bit out, put it aside so that when it comes up, I've got money to pay for the rego for my vehicle. I've got money to pay for my insurance. I've got all of those things. That then lets you do some financial forecasting so you can predict what your financial performance is going to be for your business. Cost management, really important. Now, these are things that you as the business owner can be doing. The next things I'm going to talk about will be a little more esoteric, I think, but cost management. You need to know what your fixed and your variable costs are, and you need to understand how they impact your business. A fixed cost is something that never changes. A variable cost is something that changes. My Adobe subscription would be a variable cost. Yes, it's fixed at the moment in that this year it's fixed at this rate, but that will vary next year. So I class that as a variable cost. My fixed cost might be my loan payment. If I had a loan payment, it might be my loan payment. It might be my rent. They're your fixed costs. But you need to understand what they are so that you understand how they impact your business. You then need to manage those expenses. Don't just go adding expenses to the business and saying, oh, I shall be right. You need to look at those expenses every week and say, is this an expense that I need for my business? Is this an expense that the business can bear? I have taken subscriptions on things thinking, yeah, that could be useful. And then I've got 2 or 3 months down the track and go, I'm not using this. Or it's not giving me the benefit that I hoped it would. And I can just do this another way and not pay this sort of money. So I'm cancelling the subscription. So you do need to manage your costs. You also need to, and by managing your costs, that's also when are you buying things? Do you need to pay for that now? Do you need that now? Or can you delay the purchase of that a little bit until your financial position is a little bit better? The next 2 things you do need to understand, or the next 3 things you do need to understand, but I'm going to wrap this all up into one big statement, which is make sure you have an accountant. If you don't have an accountant, go and find one. And I'm not saying go and find a highfalutin, expensive accountant. You don't need a Deloitte's. If you're in Australia, you don't need a Deloitte's. You need a small business accountant that understands small businesses and their fee structure is structured. Their fee structure is set and managed so that small businesses can afford them. Big businesses can afford a Deloitte, small businesses can't. Well, generally can't. I don't want to use absolutes all the time, but get yourself an accountant. They are the ones that are going to be able to look at a lot of your financial statements and help you make heads or tails of them. They can help you with your investment and financing options. You need to understand how you can fund things and what tax breaks they give you, what incentives they give you, what financial incentives or decentives? I don't even know if that's a word. They bring you, but you don't have to know that personally. You just need to know that you've got someone you can trust to go and talk to about it. They will help you with your investment decisions to decide where's the best place to put things, when to put them, how to structure it. The other thing that they're going to do for you, and it's the most important thing, is your taxation and compliance. If we're talking Australia, we have a really complex taxation system. And ignorance is no defense of the law, no defense in law. If you don't know you can't be doing something and you go and do it, it doesn't matter. If you've done it, they're going to come after you. You may get out of it, but I'm not sure you will. You don't want to risk it. So, understanding our law, our taxation system, yes, we have to understand it. We have to understand some of it at least. So I know I'm disappearing into the background again. The lighting is changing as I'm recording. uh, but the best thing you can do is have an accountant who can say to you, yeah, no, that's not going to work. Or what they can do is get in touch with the right people within the tax office and ask the question and get in inverted commas, a ruling for you. I really cannot highlight and emphasize how important having an accountant is for a business. Don't try and do it yourself. Make sure you've got an accountant to help you do all this, even if it's just to help you lodge your end of year tax return, because they will make sure you get everything right. Well, they will help you get more things right than you will get on your own. Like I said, it's a complex tax system. The other thing an accountant is going to be able to help you do is look at your financial ratios and metrics and make some decisions. They're going to show you which metrics you should be tracking or they think you should be tracking. And I'm not saying that what they say is the only things you should be tracking. There's other things that you're going to want to track based on what your business is, but that's something that you will learn as you go along. But they will help you with your financial ratios and metrics. Okay, there is a whole heap of stuff that we need to develop financial literacy for when we're talking about the finances of our business. I've highlighted what I feel are the most important things. If I was to just distill that down to 2 or 3 basic things that you as a business owner could do to start, I'm going to make it 4 actually. The first one is get an accountant. Do get the accountant. Second one is create a budget and stick to it. Track those metrics every day. Have a look at where you are trending on those every day. Make sure you understand how you can invest for business growth. And when I say invest, I don't mean go and get a term deposit or a super scheme or a loan or whatever it is. It may simply just be how you take the money that you're earning within your business, the profit that you're earning, and put it back into the business. Don't take all of that money and spend it for yourself. You've got to put some of it back in to grow your business. And sit down once you've got your metrics going, look at the plan that you've got in place, look at your forecasting and put it all together. That's a big one. It's something that each of us has to learn. It's something that people can help you with. If you want some assistance, reach out. I will talk about some of the reports that I've got and some of the reportings that we do. If you've got a decent accounting system, that's going to give you a lot of these metrics just straight up and a lot of these reports just straight up out of the box that you can start working with. I would love to know what your strategies are, where your problem points, where your pain points are with your financial literacy. Do you feel that you're financially literate, or do you feel that you're missing something when people start talking about things? Do you just glaze over and go, I have no idea what they're talking about? Let me know. Come across to Locals. Ask charlyleetham.locals.com and join the conversation there. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell so you find out when we drop more content. If you are watching or listening to this somewhere where you can leave a review, I would love the reviews, please. They are helpful. I do try to use them to fix up my content, to give you what you're asking for. And finally, maybe share this content with someone else who will benefit from it today. Apart from that, guys, I will see you all tomorrow for episode number 206. I'm going to talk about resilience yet again. Yay. Talk to you tomorrow, guys. Bye.